One of the areas whose name came up during Operation Al-Aqsa Storm was Kibbutz Re'im, located in the occupied territories neighboring the Gaza Strip. This brought attention to the kibbutz phenomenon as a unique communist society in Israel. The kibbutz is the cornerstone of Israel's occupation in the heart of Palestine. Russian Jewish immigrants established the first kibbutz in Palestinian lands 100 years ago. The history of kibbutz establishment dates back to the founding of the Zionist regime, and kibbutzim are older than this regime. Kibbutzim are of high importance to the regime's leaders in terms of the economy due to providing Israel's food supply, tourism, and politics. Also, because of the proximity of most kibbutzim to the Gaza Strip, they have high security significance. The kibbutz operates based on communist economic principles, and as a result, all income from members' work is pooled into a collective fund. The main sources of income for kibbutzim are agriculture and tourism. The kibbutz was a creative idea and the result of a review of the unsuccessful model of communal living of Russian communist farmers, where people live according to a special social contract, based on the principles of equality and collectivity within a social and economic framework. Notable features of the kibbutz include cooperative participation in educational, cultural, and social fields. Kibbutz members consider themselves part of a whole, with their larger unit being only their family. Kibbutzim are managed through a democratic system based on direct participation, in such a way that individuals can directly influence kibbutz issues and events. Notable features of these communities include self-sufficiency, collectivism, and work ethic. In some kibbutzim, payments are made based on income differences and the level of individual participation. In the first decades after the formation of the Zionist regime, kibbutzim played a significant role in developing almost all areas of this regime. Although kibbutzim constituted only 3% of Israel's population, they had a huge impact on the industrial production, culture, and ideology of this regime. From an ideological perspective, kibbutzim presented an image of a socialist utopia that was attractive to communists. In this way, the Israeli regime could portray a liberal utopia in cities and a socialist utopia in kibbutzim within usurped land, buying legitimacy for itself. Iranians' first encounter with the kibbutz phenomenon dates back to 1947. At that time, Jalal Ali Ahmad, who was one of the earliest and most prominent of contemporary Iranian ethnographers, accidentally came across a pamphlet about the kibbutz. During his second trip to Europe in 1962, Jalal Ali Ahmad also had a 14-day trip to occupied Palestine and observed kibbutzim up close for the first time. Jalal Ali Ahmad defines the kibbutz as a type of communal farm or village inspired by Russian kolkhozes and sovkhozes, and also based on anti-capitalism and the large scale of economic enterprises. The kibbutz as a movement began to decline gradually in the late 1970s. On one hand, the Labour Party, as the political supporter of this movement, was no longer in power, and on the other hand, the demographic composition of the Zionist regime had changed, and many people were no longer interested in socialist ideas. The kibbutz movement, even at its peak, faced criticisms, including separating children from their parents to raise them in boarding schools. Of the 240 remaining kibbutzim in Israel, only 40 kibbutzim are still managed communally, and the rest of the kibbutzim have no relation to the communist ideology of kibbutz. From the kibbutz movement, which was once the backbone of Israel's formation, now nothing remains but an old memory in minds.